You brazen ape! You are nasty and noxious. You dare oppress people right at their own door. Spinning around, Pilgrim waved at him, crying, "Come! Come! It's no merit until I've struck you down." Lifting his scimitar, the monster aimed at his opponent's head and hacked away, as Dear Pilgrim brandished the iron rod to face him. This time they fought on top of the mountain, halfway between mist and cloud. Great Sage had great magic power. The demon had vast abilities. This one struck sideways with the raw iron rod. That one raised aslant the steel scimitar. The scimitar rose softly, and bright mist glowed. The rod parried lightly, and colored clouds flew. Back and forth it circled to protect the head. Round and round it turned to guard the body. One followed the wind to change his looks. One shook his body standing on the ground. This one widened his fiery eyes and stretched his simian arms. That one flared his golden pupils and bent his tiger-like waist. Coming and going, they fought round and round. Rod and scimitar giving blow for blow. The Monkey King's rod conformed to battle art. The fiend's scimitar followed the rules of war. One had always worked his skills to be a demon lord. One had used his vast power to guard the Tang monk. The fierce Monkey King became more fierce. The violent monster grew more violent. Heedless of life or death, they fought in the air. All for Tang monk's quest for Buddha from afar. The two of them fought for over 50 rounds, but a decision could not be reached. Secretly pleased, Pilgrim thought to himself, "The scimitar of this brazen monster is quite a match for the rod of Old Monkey. Let me pretend to blunder and see if he can detect it." Dear Monkey King. He raised the rod above his head with both his hands, using the style of tall testing the horse. The fiend did not perceive that it was a trick. When he saw that there was a chance, he wielded the scimitar and slashed at the lower third of Pilgrim's body. Pilgrim quickly employed the great middle level to fend off the scimitar, after which he followed up with the style of stealing peaches beneath the leaves, and brought the rod down hard on the monster's head. This one blow made the monster vanish completely. He retrieved his rod to look around, but the monster spirit was nowhere to be seen. Greatly startled, Pilgrim said, "Oh my child. You can't take much beating. One stroke, and you're dead." But even if you were beaten to death, there had to be some blood or pus left. Why isn't there a trace of you? You must have escaped, I suppose. Leaping up quickly to the edge of the clouds, he stared in all four directions, but there was not the faintest movement anywhere. "These two eyes of Old Monkey," he said, "can see everything anywhere. How could he vanish just like that? Ah, I know. That fiend said that he recognized me somewhat, and that meant that he couldn't possibly be an ordinary monster of this world. Most likely he was a spirit from heaven." Unable to suppress his anger, the great sage somersaulted all at once and leapt up to the south heavenly gate, wielding his iron rod. Pang, Liu, Go, Bi, Zheng, Tao, Deng, Xing, and the other celestial captains were so startled that they bowed on both sides of the gate and dared not stop him. He fought his way in and arrived before the Hall of Perfect Light. Zhang, Ge, Shi, and Qiu, the celestial masters, asked him, "Why did the great sage come here?" "Because I accompanied the Tang monk until the precious image kingdom," said Pilgrim, "where there was a demon who had seduced the princess and sought to harm my master. Old Monkey waged a contest with him, but as we were fighting, I suddenly lost him. I don't think he's an ordinary fiend of earth. He has to be a spirit from heaven. I came especially to investigate whether any monster deity has left the ranks." When the celestial masters heard this, they entered the Hall of Divine Mists to make the report, and an order immediately was issued to take the roll among the 9 luminaries, the 12 branches, the 5 planets of the 5 quarters, the numerous gods of the Milky Way, the gods of the 5 mountains, and the 4 rivers. Every one of the heavenly deities was present, for none dared to leave his post. The investigation was then extended beyond the Big Dipper Palace, and the count, back and forth among the 28 constellations, had turned up only 27 members. Revati, the Wood Wolf Star, was missing. The preceptors returned to report to the throne, saying, "Revati, the Wood Wolf Star, has left for the region below." The Jade Emperor said, "For how long has he been away from heaven?" "He was absent for 4 muster roll calls," said the preceptors. "The roll is taken once every 3 days, so today is the 13th day." "The 13th day in heaven," said the Jade Emperor, "is the 13th year on earth." He thereupon gave the order for the star's own department to recall him back to heaven. After having received the decree, the 27 constellations went out of the heavenly gate, and each of them recited a spell which aroused Revati. Where was he hiding, you ask? The star, actually, had been a celestial warrior who was terror-stricken when the great sage caused great disturbance in heaven previously. Just now, the star hid himself in a mountain stream, and the water vapor had covered up his monster cloud. That was why he could not be seen. Only when he heard his own colleagues reciting their spells did he dare emerge and follow the crowd to return to the region above. He was met by the great sage at the gate, who wanted to hit him, but fortunately the other stars managed to put a stop to it. He was then taken to see the Jade Emperor. Taking out the golden plaque from his waist, the fiend knelt below the steps of the hall and kowtowed, admitting his guilt. "Revati, the Wood Wolf Star," said the Jade Emperor, "there is boundless beauty in the region above. Instead of enjoying this, you chose to visit in secret another region. Why?" "Your Majesty," said Revati the Star, kowtowing, "please pardon the mortal offense of your subject. The princess of the Precious Image Kingdom is no ordinary mortal. She is actually the Jade Girl in charge of incense in the Spread Incense Hall. She wanted to have an affair with your subject, who was afraid, however, that this act would defile the noble region of the Celestial Palace. Longing for the world, she went first to the region below, where she assumed human form in the Imperial Palace. Your subject, not wanting to disappoint her, changed himself into a demon. After I occupied a famous mountain, I abducted her to my cave dwelling, where we became husband and wife for 13 years. Thus not even a sup or a bite is not foreordained, and it is fated that great Sage Sin should accomplish his merit at this time." When the Jade Emperor heard these words, he ordered that the star's golden plaque be taken away from him. He was then banished to the Tushita Palace to be a paid fire tender for Laozi, with the stipulation that he would be restored to his rank if he made merit, and that he would be punished further if he did not. When Pilgrim saw how the Jade Emperor disposed of the matter, he was so pleased that he bowed deeply to the throne. Then he said to the other deities, "All of you, thanks for taking the trouble. This ape," said one of the masters, laughing, "is still so uncouth. We have taken captive for him the monster god, and instead of showing his gratitude to the heavenly grace properly, he leaves after only taking a bow." The Jade Emperor said, "We count it our good fortune already if he doesn't start any trouble and leaves heaven in peace." Lowering the direction of his auspicious luminosity, the great sage went back directly to the current moon cave of the Casserole Mountain, where he found the princess. As he was just giving her an account of all that went before, they heard 8 rules and Sha Monk shouting in midair, "Elder brother, save a few monster spirits for us to beat, too. They are all finished," said Pilgrim. "In that case," said Sha Monk, "nothing should detain us here. Let's bring the princess back to court. Brothers, let's do the magic of shortening the ground." All the princess heard was the rushing of wind, and in a moment, they were back in the city. The 3 of them brought the princess up to the palace of the Golden Chimes, where she bowed reverently to her parents and met again her sisters. Thereafter, the various officials all came to pay their respects. "We are truly beholden to Elder Sun," said the princess to the throne, "whose boundless Dharma power subdued the yellow robe fiend and brought me back to our kingdom." "What kind of monster is that yellow robe?" asked the king. Pilgrim said, "The son-in-law of your majesty happens to be the star Ravati from the region above, and your daughter was the jade girl in charge of incense. Because of her longing for the world, they both descended to earth to assume human forms. It was no small thing that they should consummate a marriage contracted in their previous existence. When Old Monkey went to the Celestial Palace to report to the Jade Emperor, it was discovered that the fiend had not answered the muster roll for 4 times. This meant that he had left heaven for 13 days, and correspondingly 13 years had passed on earth, for a day in heaven is a year down here. The Jade Emperor ordered the constellations of his department to recall him to the region above, where he was then banished to work for further merit in the Tushita Palace. Old Monkey was then able to bring back your daughter. After the king had thanked Pilgrim for his kindness, he said, "Let's go and take a look at your master." The 3 disciples followed the king and descended from the treasure hall to go into one of the chambers in the court, where the officials brought out the iron cage and loosened the chains on the specious tiger. Everyone still saw the tiger as a tiger, but Pilgrim alone saw him as a man. The master, you see, was imprisoned by diabolical magic. Though he understood everything, he could neither walk nor open his eyes or mouth. "Master," said Pilgrim, laughing, "you are a good monk. How did you manage to end up with a fearsome look like that? You blamed me for working evil and violence and banished me. You claimed that you wanted to practice virtue single-mindedly. How did you acquire such features all at once?" "Elder brother," said 8 Rules, "please save him. Don't just ridicule him. You pick on me and everything," said Pilgrim. "And you are his favorite disciple. Why don't you save him? Why do you ask Old Monkey instead? Remember what I said originally, that after I had subdued the monster to avenge myself from his abuse, I would go back." Sha Monk drew near and knelt down, saying, "Elder brother, the ancients said, if you don't regard the priest, do regard the Buddha. If you are here, I beseech you to save him. If we could do so, we wouldn't have traveled all that distance to plead with you." Raising him with his hands, Pilgrim said, "How could I possibly be content not to save him? Get me some water, quick." 8 Rules rushed back to the post house and took out the purple gold alms bowl from the luggage. He returned and handed to Pilgrim the bowl half filled with water. As he took the water in his hand, Pilgrim recited a magic spell and spat a mouthful of water on the tiger. At once the diabolical magic was dispelled and the tigerish illusion was broken. After the elder had appeared in his original body, he recovered sufficiently to open his eyes and recognize Pilgrim, whom he took hold of with his hands immediately. "Wukong?" he cried. "Where did you come from?" Standing to one side, Sha Monk gave a thorough account of what had taken place, and Tripitaka was filled with gratitude, saying, "Worthy disciple, I owe you everything. I owe you everything. Let's hope that we'll reach the west soon. When we return to the land of the east, I'll report to the Tang Emperor that yours is the highest merit." "Don't mention it. Don't mention it," said Pilgrim with laughter. "Just don't recite that little something, and your living kindness will be most appreciated." When the king heard this, he also gave thanks to all 4 of them before preparing a huge vegetarian banquet for them in the Eastern Palace. After they had enjoyed these royal favors, master and disciples took leave of the king and headed for the west. The king led all his ministers through great distance to send them off. So it was that the king returned to the palace, his empire secured. The monk went to worship Buddha at Thunderclap. We do not know what took place thereafter or when they would reach the western heaven. Let's listen to the explanation in the next chapter.